Hey, man, it's Dukes and Bell, our pre show. Thanks for being here, however you're accessing this, whether it's Twitter Live, whether it's YouTube, Twitch. Here's the deal, guys. After that Sunday night loss, yesterday at the end of the show, played a soundbite from Raheem Morris where he basically said, I wouldn't have called a timeout. You know, we should have got the stop anyway when we had 10 men on the field. Ultimately, it led to a touchdown by the 49ers. And a lot of people, Mike, after our conversation yesterday on the show, are talking about the coaching decisions, the clock management decisions. And again, the reason why this no timeout thing has become a thing is because it ended up hurting you.
Right.
If you call the timeout and we still don't get the stop, nobody can complain that you got 11 guys on the field and at least you were prepared to try to stop the play, whatever it might have been. But by just insinuating, and I forget what you told me at the end of the show yesterday, Mike, where it just felt like Raheem, he's being tongue-in-cheek, but it's not funny.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be glib about that? I mean, it's another loss. I mean, we just saw, the Bucks just lost to Detroit. Okay, we could be half a game out in the division right now. But, we got jokes about having, 10 guys on the field. Oh, no, hell, we could have done it with 8. Like, when things aren't going well, it just kind of seems to magnify things and it amps it up. I know our audience is kind of losing it over that. But, yeah, 10 men on the field. And a few plays before that, you had 12 men on the field. And we also had delay a game penalty on offense. So, and then the quarterback not having the situation awareness to know you can't make the throw that he made, which cost us a 10-second runoff. So you just wonder, how well is this team coached? And it's a valid point. You and I was saying at the end of the show to Carl and Day and Orin, when the coaching cycle was going down 2 years ago and the Belichick thing ran its course, you had guys like Tony Dungy and Mike Tomlin and Sean McVay, and everybody says, this guy's one of the best minds in football. He's got to get a second chance at coaching, talking about Raheem Morris. And he's making the same mistakes he made in Tampa Bay. The feeling is Tampa Bay, the Glazer family screwed him, and that was a team that was in transition. Well, you got to make better decisions. You got to be more organized. The way the season starts, why don't we have our offensive coordinator down there on the sideline? Why don't we try that out during preseason? So you begin to wonder, what's going on from the top down, Carl? I think it's a legitimate question what Falcon fans ask.
Yeah, and look, we're going to explore this more today because here come the Dolphins. And if you want to talk about, not showing up, not being in the moment, not handling the small details, and for whatever reason, and I don't know how this game plays out, we got plenty of time to talk about it. But if you were to lose Sunday, it would be worse than losing to Carolina, okay? It would be. And because of the Carolina loss, right, and then if you were to add a Dolphin loss to that, Mike, it adds more to this conversation. I hope that's not what we're talking about. I hope we come out, handle business. Everybody's dealing with injuries. Last night you saw, injuries in the Monday night football games that affected both teams and all 4 teams. It's just what it is. It's where we're at in the season. So I don't want to hear any crap about, the injuries and we don't have this guy. And listen, we love Divine Diablo. I said Divine Diablo. There we go. We love this dude, but he's not going to be here at least for a few weeks. They're saying he's week to week with this forearm fracture or whatever, he has broken his arm.
Right.
But Mike, that's why all of a sudden now, the emphasis on what they're going to do, how they're doing it, going into this Dolphins week is a big deal because the Mike McDaniel's going to come in here, guys, and try to steal a win. He's going to try to steal a win.
Right. And all the things that are dysfunctional with the Dolphins, he's still a good offensive coach. Tua is going to be coming in with a chip because, they're calling for Quinn Ewers already down there. Things have been funky. Same thing. Mike McDaniel has jokes. Coach Bro has jokes, Carl, in his press conference.
Yes, he did.
So we'll see. But, you cannot lose to this Dolphins. This is a hapless Dolphins team.
This must win. Real quick. And Day, do you guys have any issues? Like, did you feel like it was the coaching that played a role in our loss, or we just didn't execute the way we needed to?
I definitely felt like it was a combo of both, more so coaching than anything, because we talked about it yesterday on the pre-show. Defensively, we didn't adjust to Christian McCaffrey. We just kept letting him just do what he wanted to do, eating us up on the inside. So that's a coaching situation for me. Personnel wise, I did feel like there were some, just some minute mistakes defensively. Like we talked about it on the text thread. There was the one time where it looked like Caden Ellis went to plug the wrong hole. And then I was watching highlights again this morning, and he and JD Bertrand again. It just looked like defensively they kind of just were reading things wrong, and that allowed McCaffrey to just keep finding the holes and getting those yardage that he was getting.
Day, real quick, and then I'm gonna let you go. It's Dukes and Bell, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. We're on today at 2:00. Our dudes, the Water Boys, are gonna stop by. Can't wait to hear what they have to say at 3:00. Dave Archer as well, analyst for Atlanta Falcons, and Connor Riley from Dog Nation. So we got a lot to chop up with those guys. But to your point, this is Divine Diablo and Caden working together through the course of this preseason camp. They know and feel each other. I think what you're talking about is JD came in and he was trying to there was no coordination there, which is why it felt a little bit off and maybe why they missed some of those plays where they should have been in that game on Sunday night. Oh, what are you thinking? What the hell's going on with your camera?
No, had to move. My two children are a little bit animated right now. A little too animated right now. So.
Apartment. What's going on over there?
All right.
No, I had to find a more quiet spot over here. I got one kid who was running back and forth, just wanted me to look at him and smile, I guess. But anyway, so your point about either coaching or execution, it starts with coaching and it trickles down, like Day said. Just for if you can't get a play in on time, for Michael Penix to do checks and
fellas, how many times has that happened now? Numerous, right? I mean,
yeah, more than once. Yeah. And that's too many times where you're not able to get a play more than once per game, I should say, which is really inexcusable. But if it starts with and you move Zach down to make things easier, but it seems like in moving Zach down, it didn't make things the easiest that they needed to be because you're still having those problems with getting plays in. From a defensive standpoint, it's the same thing too. Like a couple times you saw guys not where they needed to be in alignment. The fact that you can't get 11 men on the field in two separate situations where you got the 10 men and the 12 men, right. That starts with coaching. So if the coaches aren't allowing these players to be in the best positions possible to succeed, it starts with them. And then it kind of trickles down where, all right, well, from a player standpoint, you got to go out there and you got to play the game still. And these guys aren't making enough plays to, I guess, kind of get the job done in certain situations. Like we can talk about the 10 men. I'm not going to agree with Raheem full out on the fact that they should have stopped. Yes, they should have stopped that play, but having 11 men on the field was going to help out a whole lot more on that. But there still are individual things that these guys are not doing. Like Mike, you talked about earlier with James Pierce and how high Louis Riddick was on this guy to start the season, how we thought that James Pierce could lead the league in sacks. Well, that's not happening. So from an individual standpoint, we're not seeing guys do the things that we need them to do. Now, there's been great moments like Zach Harrison's been great for us this year, stepping up and playing well. David Onyemata's played well for you, but you still need other guys and other situations to step up. One more thing, too.
And to Oran's point, just real quick, I tweeted out earlier today that old Louis Riddick quote after the draft, and hey, how's this for a hot take that James Pierce Jr. could lead all of defensive linemen in sacks this year? And I said, Carl and I, we were hyped. I don't think we were that hyped. No. I was kind of hoping for 8 sacks, and I know that everyone's into pressure rates. And look, it's just to a third of the season. So I've already triggered some Falcon fans who feel that's a weak take. But I mean, you don't have a first-round pick next year, okay, because you feel this guy's a transformative piece. I don't think anyone thought we're going to develop a guy when you feel he's that impactful. And he's going to come in ready to play.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, one more thing.
I was going to say, too, the JT Bertrand thing is interesting because part of the reason why Divine Diablo was working out so well in this defense was because of his height and his arm length. And JT Bertrand is like 2.5 inches shorter than what Divine was and has shorter arms.
Size matters.
Size matters, Carl, in this regard. That was a big deal reading what the coaching staff wanted. They wanted the linebacker with some speed, but also with some length. JD might have a little bit of speed, but he doesn't have the length that Divine does. So you wonder how that's going to translate on an every down basis now when JD's in, where can you do the same things that Divine did? If they're asking you to do this stuff right now, like, can you cover the same way? Can you cover space the same way?
No.
Being that you don't have the same dimension size-wise as Divine did too?
No, he's a serviceable, Mike and I use that word, right? Serviceable backup. very in tune into what the task is. As far as he was a captain at Notre Dame. He's got it. He understands the scheme and schematically what you're trying to do. But this league is about talent. This league is about, I have more talent than you. Last night, the Lions were without probably their best defensive back and shut down.
Secondary. They're
four guys.
Secondary.
But Branch being suspended was a big deal.
Baker had a horrible game.
Shut him down. And, at the end of the day, the Lions, because of the way they've drafted and free agency, they're more talented. It's why everybody's picking them even before the season. Like, they're going to be back in the NFC Championship game. Bertrand's a really good player. I'm going to answer that. Oh, he's not. He can't do those things. And look, we all want girth. We all want length. But you got to, whatever God gave you, you got to have. That's just where you're at. JD can't change anything about where he's at physically. Let's shift gears, guys, because we got a few other things to talk about. Dukes and Bell, make sure you follow us. You can ask questions. You can get at us. And we'll certainly answer those things on the show today if we get time. Georgia Tech. I caught a little heat today from a guy, I guess it was about 4 weeks ago, because up till last week, I had talked about Carson Beck being a better quarterback than Gunnar Stockton. And I think we had a post about it, Mike, and I was talking about it here. And a guy said, I don't understand this Gunnar hate. And I asked him, did you listen to the show yesterday? It was Gunnar's prove it moment over the weekend, being against Ole Miss, and he proved it. But both of these guys, now you talk about Gunnar and you talk about Georgia Tech's quarterback, right? We've been saying they deserve, I don't know if Gunnar, because again, it's a different feel, but certainly Haynes King deserves some credit for what he's been doing from a Heisman perspective. Mike, what's your take on these two guys?
Yeah, we said it yesterday. A Tech fan brought it up to me, said if Haynes King was playing for, to insert SEC team that's, that's ranked, he would be getting a lot more love. I just don't know if guys are just overwhelmed that they got to have the 25 passing touchdowns, in the air, and that's not part of his resume just yet. And it probably won't be by the end of the season. He just wins. He makes throws when he has to, but generally it's him just picking his spots and rambling and making a big play, moving the chains and getting those touchdowns. But, it's on him. You take away Haynes King, nothing against Philo, but he can't do what Haynes King does with the run game. This guy is truly a one-man gang. It's almost like a throwback. Cam Newton had a ton of air, touchdowns in the air for Auburn, his Heisman year. But this, it's in his own way, it's a little bit similar because you're so dependent on Haynes King. Gunnar had that amazing throw, clutch and fourth down against Tennessee. He backs that up with a great effort. Look, his defense was Swiss cheese. Georgia gave him 5 scoring drives in a row at home. So Gunnar Stockton had to be that dude. So you're right. Both guys deserve the juice.
What do you think, Dede?
No, I agree. I think the problem for Haynes King, to Mike's point, is, and I'm going to bring this up on the show today. He needs one guy to start being more impactful for Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech needs this guy in general to be more impactful if they're going, because I really believe they're going to make the playoffs. It's deep down in my heart. This isn't just because my wife's plaque is hanging back there for being a Tech alum. It has nothing to do with that. Watching them week in and week out, I really think they have the tools to get themselves into this ACC championship and then into the playoffs. However, getting past the first round of the playoffs, they need more impact. And there's one particular player that I feel like is the key. And I'll talk about it on the show today on what's on my mind. But both of them are very well, in my opinion, should be, up there. Gunner's up there in the Heisman talks. I think this week now he's like at plus 1,000. He opened up at 3,500. Haynes is down. He's only like plus 5,500. But again, to Mike's point, this offense, Tech isn't where they are right now without Haynes King and what he's been able to do on the ground. But I just don't think you can continue like this with your quarterback being your leading rusher.
We're going to find out, guys. Here's the crazy thing before we talk about NBA tipping off tonight. Again, Dukes and Bell, tune in 2 o'clock today, Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Make sure you're there. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia Tech, all undefeated in the top 10. Everybody else has a loss. You get to then BYU, who is 11 in the AP poll. They're also undefeated. But who would have thought? Who would have thunk it that Georgia Tech would be undefeated in a top 6 team, top 7 team in the rankings? We're going to talk more about these quarterbacks today, and Connor Riley joins us as well. All right, real quick, NBA tips off tonight. Hey, Warriors, Lakers, LeBron. I think he's got a broke back or what? Oh, sciatica. That's what it is. And so he'll be out.
Old back.
And then that's Warriors, Lakers, and then Rockets, Thunder. Of course, Thunder are the defending champions. Hawks tip off tomorrow night, guys. And of course, we are your home for the Atlanta Hawks right here on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Just a reminder, you'll get all the games all season long. Expectations. And by the way, Dyson Daniels got a $100 million deal, 4 years, $100 million deal yesterday. Mike and I talked a lot about it on the show, intermixed with a lot of football conversation because that news broke. Congratulations to Dyson Daniels. He's a dude. We need his defense. But expectations, real quick. Just go. What do you think, Mike? Hawks, expectations.
The win total puts them just, 48.5? It's got them on the cusp of 50 wins. Man, that means like your fourth seed, third seed. We already know the Eastern Conference, Celtics in a transitional period because of the injuries and everything else. Cavs without, the Pacers without their best player. Cavs still there. Orlando Magic, I think the Magic and us are teams that are going to be on the uptick. Magic is kind of already ahead of us already. Yep. But, this is a year where, and some guys are saying, why doesn't Trey get his extension? Hey, no worries, man. Let's see how he functions with the best team he's had since we went to the conference finals. But Dyson Daniels, the free agents, the three-point shooting, the defense, Porzingis, the best player he's ever had on a team. And then, of course, the linchpin, we say it every time. If Jalen Johnson stays healthy, then we're going to win those 48.5 games. And we will be locked in, Carl, not in the play.
This is a top 4 seeded team. Day, Orin, real quick. Top 4 seed in the East? Hawks?
I believe so. I honestly believe the Hawks have the personnel to be in the Eastern Conference Championship based on what we're seeing right now with the Eastern Conference. You've got so many teams dealing with major injuries. Even the Cavs, even though they're bringing everybody back, I believe 2 players are going to be – they're starting the season without 2 of their major players. And so right now I think the Knicks and the Hawks are kind of and the Magic are the 3 teams that really can kind of get off and kind of submit themselves at the top of that conference. So you're really looking at a Hawks team that could really be top 3. And like I said, really, battling for that Eastern Conference title at the end of it when it's all said and done. But health. Got to stay healthy.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, top 4 team?
Yeah, so much of what this Hawks team is about this year is fit. And you got guys around Trey that he hasn't had before with, this is the longest, we're talking about length and girth, the longest and the tallest team he's been around from a defensive standpoint, pass lanes, doing all that stuff, and it's probably be the best shooting team that Trey's been around too. So in the offseason, we've been begging like, hey, if Trey's the guy, build around him, and that's what they did this offseason. So hopefully that's going to lead to a good result, which I do believe will be a top 4 seed in the East this year.
Yeah, look, I think they are too. I can't wait. We'll see what happens with the season. We've got to run. We will talk to you guys on the show today at 2:00. We got a lot to get into and more on this Gunners, Haynes King thing. It's really interesting because they deserve more attention and hopefully they start to get it. All right, man, we'll talk to you guys at 2:00. Be there.